BIC episode number 162. And on this episode, Eric, sometimes I have an episode where it's been a day and I bring a beer to go along with the podcast episode. And Brandon, this is one of those days. But when I said it was one of those days, no, it's one of those days. That's all I'm saying. It was one of those days. It's an adventure. It's been an adventure. More on that on Friday. Well, listen, Eric went with the hard Pepsi. Eric's going with the hard Pepsi. You can tell right there. It's the serious. He went with the serious, heavy duty one. It's been a day, but regardless, more on that on Friday. We'll have a lot of the usual segments and everything. I'll talk about some stuff that's coming up and some of the stuff that's going on other channels, collaborations and such. We'll have that. We've got Upper Deck did a thing, so that's exciting, and we've got a little bit of story time with Carl, not related to the specific reason that Monday was a thing, but related to some updates, some stuff that's going on. And Eric is going to go over. So you have all the picks written down, right? All of them. All right, so we'll go over all the picks. But Brandon, I think we should specifically and strategically ignore one specifically.
The worst game of the weekend so far?
Yeah, the one that's honestly a trash bag team that has no business being in the playoffs, let alone winning a game. Garbage. Because if you can't score more than one touchdown in a winning effort, honestly, you should be eliminated just on principle. 2 touchdown minimum.
It was the worst of the games played so far. We do still have tonight's, but it was the worst of the games played so far.
Indeed. So we'll find out how once again Eric managed to be adjacent to trash. That and more on this episode. The watchful eyes of Brett Favre. I might have even pushed the button a second too soon. We'll see. Listen, Brett Favre, save us. Save us. Save us. It's a rough scene. It's a rough scene. Listen, I might just have to crack the second beer open before I even finish the first one, Eric. It's a tough scene out here. It's tough out in these streets. But regardless, we'll move on. We'll go with it. We'll make it happen either way. So I do want to talk about some comments from last week. So let's get into that, and then we'll actually go into it. Ironically, Eric, last week's episode was called "The Struggle Is Real." Apparently, I spoke too soon. Who knew?
Last week's episode also, where's everybody at? Like, we started off January strong, providing the content, providing the entertainment, and the views were way down. Where was everybody at? Your Christmas shopping is over. There was no excuses. The holidays were done. Where was all the views? Where was all the votes?
We need to tell the people, man. You know, what's funny, though, is that the subsequent videos and stuff that I did right after did fine. And then the Friday was actually kind of settled back into its normal range.
Yeah, it was weird. I think that's one of our lowest engaging podcast episodes.
Just on principle, I blame Eric.
The struggle was real.
The struggle was real on so many levels. It was very prophetic. But nonetheless, we did get a couple of comments, so we'll acknowledge those. Dan Vintage Baseball PC said 1981 and 1982 Fleer have some of the worst photography in the history of the hobby. Man, I hate those sets. That's fair. That's valid. Eric's personal favorite commenter, his favorite commenter perhaps of all time. Based on it, I'm feeling really strong masshole vibes here. That's all I'm saying. So, Bitch Slap 666, which could also be Eric's alias. It could be another one of Eric's aliases. We don't know.
It's probably the ones that he votes with.
Yeah. I'm saying, cards of the week are bangers, gents. The cards is kind of tipping me off. I'm just saying. I got to vote with Motorboat Jones. So we know what the direction they went on this. Man, that Fleer Jack Morris pick is impressively atrocious. By the way, that comment was also Bitch Slap 666, aka possibly Eric. Just saying. Last and certainly not least, Bob Oozle. When Bobbles showed his immature motorboat card, I accidentally spit my morning milk out all over my wife's blouse.
I am just happy that I have been able to provide the entertainments to none other than one Mr. Bob Oozle.
Yes, so. And Mr. Bob Oozle did get a shout out in a piece that we're going to talk about now in this piece. So I did do, I've been talking with Dan's Vintage Baseball, speaking of, about the concept of doing a collaboration. So we managed to get that recorded this past weekend, and the episode dropped, I believe, on Sunday. So I will include a link in the description to the first episode if you want to check it out. It is officially the Cardboard Cynics, so episode 1, which was the intro episode. Had a little bit of fun with that. Got the nice graphic on the outside of it, and then taking care of that. It did include some memes on there. Doing pretty well, actually. So pretty good. I think it's one of those things where I'm glad if we're able to kind of this whole point of collaboration, and you know this, Brandon, is to kind of like bring attention and bring different audiences together to give everybody a chance to check it out. So really good support. Lots of comments on here and good engagement. So hopefully we can carry some of that over this way. We brought some people over that way, so it's a mutually beneficial thing. So Dan and I had some fun with that, and we'll play around with some of the ideas. Plus, Eric, there might have been a wild Cheeto Sard reference in there.
There was.
I believe I heard that. Yes.
Yes. And I'm very passionate about this, as you well know. So I need to make sure people understood.
Yeah. Dan is not as equally passionate.
He's gonna come to see my way of thinking.
Okay.
Cheetos art was a golden era in the hobby, and it needs to be acknowledged and celebrated at every opportunity possible.
Listen, I tend to agree. Dan, not so much.
We're gonna keep working on it. We'll see if we can get him on this, man. We'll see if we can get him on this. But yes, we did touch on a variety of topics, so feel free to check that one out. And we'll kind of go from there. Don't know exactly the frequency. We're thinking it's going to be at least once a month. It might be twice a month. It's just a matter of timing and scheduling and everything. So we'll kind of play around with it and we'll see. But regardless, we wanted to kind of start off the idea. And it's going to bounce back and forth between both channels. So whatever the second episode is going to be on my channel. And Brandon, I like to think I'm going to probably add having a title into it, something that we didn't set up for the first episode. I like to think of it now. My working title right now is "Suck at SGC" because it'll be the second episode. So I was just thinking, got to episode 2, so already twice as good as SGC. What do you think? It's my workshopping it.
I appreciate Dan's passion of withholding the ship for SGC and the fighting the battle of their total numbers amongst sports cards, but the problem with that is the numbers have dwindled very rapidly, and in an industry that is trading card grading, and when the TCGs and the Pokemans and all that stuff has become such a high volume of the market share, you might not want to be the company that's only dependent on sports cards. So they do have the vintage model, and they still get some modern in there, but yeah, being one that was riding the wave, yeah, it's kind of sad to see.
Dang. Darth Bobbles, formerly the co-owner, and he had SGC Pete back in the door.
I had the office right here in my office.
Damn. Well, we're trying. Listen, we're trying. We'll see. But regardless, nonetheless, it worked out pretty good. So appreciate that. Thank you everybody who did check that one out and left comments and engagement. So it's been good. And then we'll kind of go from there. And then we'll evolve it. And by the way, in this comment section, feel free to let me know if you do check out the episode. Feel free to give me if you got any feedback or if you got any questions, because I really do want to try to build up a little bit of a mailbag. I'd love to have that as a feature, but it's going to be up to the audience. The folks listening are going to be the ones who are going to have to decide. Yes, Brandon.
Speaking of comments, I want to make a notation and recognize a comment that Dan had left in reply to another comment on that video. And everyone loves to share how old I am. I want it to be known that Carlos has apparently been doing YouTube for nearly 36 years consecutively.
That's impressive.
I didn't even know YouTube was around then, but hey, shit happens.
Well, listen, Brandon, this is why I've been on record as saying, I appreciate the RP guys. I appreciate a lot of the people that talk about being the OGs. Eric, I predate YouTube. Get on my level.
Yeah, it's impressive. All right, when something's impressive, I got to acknowledge that it's impressive. That's impressive.
All I'm gonna say is, y'all get on my level. Get on my level. Again, you gotta listen to the episode, then you'll know where that reference is coming
from. He's been doing card YouTube longer than he states that he's collected cards.
Oh no, listen, back in those days, we hadn't even considered the idea of cards yet. And that's how long the sports card YouTube's been going on. That's how long. Anyway, you'll get it if you check out the episode. It'll make sense. All right, so like I said, I'll leave links in the description to all that. Real quick, one more thing I'll do. We're going to go to the silly card of the week here. But for silly card of the week, let's quickly share this. AMGcollectibles.ca, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. We are back from the holiday hiatus. I think we'll be doing a scheduling update on the next episode as well, because we'll probably be changing the cadence of that series, partially because of the speed at which products are coming in. So we'll let you all know on the episode. Steve and Blair, Collector Scalps, Collector People, Steve and Bonus Blair will be joining me, and then we'll talk about it. I think we've got, I believe Allure will be the new product that's coming out as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I'll have a little chance to look at the checklist and everything and see if I can put something together so we can talk about that. We'll talk about some more stuff that's happening at AMG as far as the store. There's like a friends and family night that's going to be part of it. Again, all the details will be forthcoming on that episode. You're welcome to check it out. This episode is being recorded on Monday. We'll drop it on Tuesday. That one will be dropping on Wednesday. So you're more than welcome to check it out. Links in the description to all that. Thank you to AMG for supporting the channel and the podcast. So we got that going on here. Now it's time for the silly card of the week. We did get some votes, so we're going to see if we can pick up the number. We are in the new year. Y'all are back from vacation. Time to get back to the voting. We do count all the votes. It is the only true democracy in this world. But now I shall give you the results of the vote. And it is as follows. 31 total votes. Hashtag you had one job, 26%. Hashtag maturity. Motorboat Jones. Good effort. Slightly better than you had one job. But the winner was a standard play with Speedy Gonzalez with 45% of the popular vote. Even though it is Eric and we don't want to acknowledge it, the votes are the votes. They're all counted. Eric, let it not be said that the will of the people is not acknowledged.
I think Eric voted 29 times out of the 31.
At least.
2 weeks in a row. That's a streak.
We'll see. We'll see if we can keep it up. We'll find out. So we got this week's Silly Card of the Week candidates. So I think we've got a little bit of a mix here. I can tell you that we have covered 3 different sports on this week's edition of the Silly Card of the Week. So now, let us commence. Here are your options that will be in a community post. We begin with the basketballs.
So before proceeding to the basketballs, I want to self-proclaim my believe that I did not follow the rules a couple weeks ago. Our self respective rules on my Sharks card. I went back through the histories of the Silly Card of the Week, and there was a Steve Sharks that was shared way back during the early days, and I'm pretty sure I used it. It was a different image, but I am going to acknowledge that I was not aware that I had used it. I believe it was me, and I'm not going to pin it on them. Either way, we try to make sure that we don't duplicate, and I noticed that one, even though it was a different image, should not have went that route, so apologies. This week, I've seen Eric and the route he was going, and so I was going for a similar little theme here, and we have Mr. Wesley Person. I guess he thought that he could play basketball underwater. I've seen people have the goalposts at the pool above water. I guess he's taking it to a different version.
That is one way of trading. It is there. Oh, Eric, what say you?
So obviously this is Robert Edwards' rookie card. Robert Edwards played for the Patriots for basically 1 year, ran over 1,000 yards in his rookie year, and was going to be the future star running back of the New England Patriots and or the league. But he got asked to come to play in the rookie all-pro game in Hawaii, and they had a rookie sand beach flag football game for the rookies. And during this game, Robert Edwards destroyed his knee so badly that his career was pretty much over. He did make a small comeback, but his promising career was over. And not only did he ruin his career doing something silly, his rookie card is also silly. Like he's going to go jump in a child's ball pit to go retrieve the football. It's stuff like that type of silliness that pretty much ended his career.
So my question, Eric, is why do you consider it silly to show an image from the standard New England Patriots training camp? This was a standard drill. Like, what are we talking about? Like the ball pit. You're not familiar with the ball pit drill? This is hallmark of the Patriots in the 90s.
Well, that's why we only went to one Super Bowl and lost, I guess, then.
You should have had a bigger ball pit. Bigger ball pit probably would have won it for you.
Yeah. Ran
Good
into
chance.
that not so swell fella, and he beat us in '96. So bigger ball pit. Yeah, I never thought of
bigger
that.
ball pit. Yeah, that would work. So there is Eric's selection. I shall conclude with this. Fleer Ultra, Buzzing, Jason Robertson. And all I have to say, and if you pay attention right here, the bees. The bees.
Honeybee, yeah.
And if you know the reference, Eric, the bees. And there's actually one more hidden over here. The bees.
That one's actually placed well with the
One
look
more
on
down
his
here.
face.
One more down here. Literally, Eric, Nicolas Cage somewhere is literally saying, the bees. So there it is. The bees.
There you go.
Silly card of the week. Community post will be made. You can select any of your selections. Every vote is counted. The only true democracy in this world. Zzz, the bees. Moving on. We got pickup section here. So if you guys have any pickups, I got one that actually came in the mail that I was waiting on. So I've got that here. But if you guys have anything you would like to share with the rest of the class, by all means.
All I have is my Topps Chrome Black Dalen Lyle auto finally came in from anyway, I hate my camera. It was focused and then it unfocused. But yeah, that's the Chrome Black out of 10 auto. So it finally made its travels through eBay Authenticity Guarantee.
Nice. What say you, Eric? Is there anything you'd like to share with the rest of the class?
Well, I want to show you something, but you're going to blame me for killing this man. Bad timing, I guess. But poor Bob Pulford passed away last week. And I just so happened to buy an autographed 6970 card of him right around the same time that he passed. And it came in over the last couple of days. So very sad that, this hockey legend passed away. And I happen to have collected his autograph right at the same time. So this will go in with the 6970 set, which I'm trying to have the entire set autograph. So that will add to it. So I'm really happy to have it, but there's definitely some mixed feelings that it's like, oh goodness gracious, that guy just passed away last week, and I happened to get his card. So
now you know, Brandon. Anybody who's left alive from that set is like, will Eric kill again?
yeah.
That's really the question. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Let's talk about using your powers for evil. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So regardless, very straightforward. Small pickup. Picked up one for the Medano PC. Got Sweet Stitches from, this is what, 0607 Sweet Shots. So it is a Playing Days patch piece or a jersey piece. Number to 50. Nothing too crazy, but at the same time, it's always nice to pick up anything Playing Days. Always nice to have. Local seller. It took a little while to come over, but it's one of those ones where once it crosses provinces, it takes a little bit longer. So, but nonetheless, another edition. We'll always take that. Especially since things are going to slow down a little bit as I kind of take my time and really try to find the best stuff. So now, we're going to talk about a couple of different things, a little mishmash of topics. But first, a little story time with Carlos. So we got a couple of updates, a couple of things. First, let us update the ComCs. So, as the ComCs continue to not say anything, as I've kind of alluded to in the past little while, yes, the silence is deafening. Deafening, I say. However, fascinatingly, Eric, I have two things. I had cards that were being processed from the expo that were being intake, and I also had a shipment request that I made in December. And the shipment request in December had, not very long ago, over 500,000 items ahead of it.
Hmm.
And the date, which was originally December the 24th, had been shot all the way to March. But last week, Eric, shocking events, revelations. All of a sudden, I get a notification. And the notification says, Brandon, your request has been shipped. What? With tracking. What? And I can report to you as I speak to you on January the 12th that I'm recording this, Eric, it has arrived at its destination at Ship My Cards. So not only has it shipped, it has arrived, which means the scan should be forthcoming in the next couple of days. So it went from 500,000 items ahead of it, like magic, to being shipped and arrived. So very interessante. Very interessante. But that's not all.
Mhm.
The processed items, over 120 items over the last couple of weeks, a couple, but when I say a couple, literally, there was one that like 8 cards were processed. 5 cards were processed. The majority of them still weren't. But then, Eric, a couple of days ago, 90 cards were processed. And I was like, interessante. And then today, I get 6, which would happen to be the last 6. Everything has been processed basically in the last week.
That's fantastic. I'm
The
glad
machines, the building, in the machines in the building you can see from space, Brandon. I think Eric went over there and put some Beckett efficiency on this. And it's like, no, stat.
I made some calls.
And one more thing. That's interessante. Interessante too. And of course, ComC has a lot of the consignment services they do with eBay. Well, those ones have to be shipped out a lot faster. Well, Brandon, I had to purchase something from ComC's consignment eBay store or eBay store. And it was taking a while. Not much was happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, same week, shipped with tracking. Brandon, somebody got a burr under the saddle this past week. And they were suddenly with the quickness. Out the door it goes. Interessante. Tres.
I still can't wrap my head around how they only, they get your mail, they open it up, they process 3 cards and then put the box back on the shelf. You got the box out, bang them all out, move to the next box. I will not understand the logic behind taking out 3, processing it up on the box, go to the next one, take 3 of the. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Have you considered the possibility that with your various concussions, you don't realize that this is basically the same model you've been using for the sorting you do in that room? As the observant folks amongst us have noticed, during the Friday Lives, Eric is often seen sorting cards. But currently, the sorting seems to be taking on the timeline of the Big Dig. And Eric knows that reference. The Big Dig was faster.
I still have cards from the expo sitting on my desk.
Yeah, the problem is you have a cards from the expo 5 years ago sitting on that desk.
I bought this one from Steve Angel
Oh, I bet you did.
in November.
So that was the first story time, Brendan. It was a 3-parter, but I'm just saying, ComC, interesante 1, 2, and 3. Very interesting, Brandon. The last week or so, did like all of a sudden. But again, nothing was said. We went from like nothing's happening, boom, with the quickness. Very interesting. Very much so.
Good to hear. I still haven't had mine requested to ship. I've just been waiting for all the nonsense.
Yep. So we'll see. I will check in with some other folks. I'll be curious if they encountered a similar kind of thing. Like that's why I say the 3 components all put together, I found very interesting because I was like, huh. Because there were 3 different things, obviously different categories of what they're doing, intake and shipping out. So both categories, both teams kind of, yeah. But suddenly, apparently something. But I do wish that there had been during the delay, even though in the end, the delay wasn't too crazy because again, Eric, the original ship date was the 24th. So now that it has gone out, yeah, they missed it, but they missed it by a couple of weeks instead of a couple of months. One is obviously much better than the other. You don't want to delay at all.
Right.
But during the holidays, again, the 24th, I really wouldn't have expected that legitimately like that I give a little bit of grace. So when I take that into account, I'm willing to give you a little bit of latitude there. But at the same time, it's like communication. Communication goes a long way. And what's funny is because those got processed, Eric, I was then able to go through them and price them. And I made like $200 worth of sales yesterday from new stuff that got processed. Funny how that works, because if I've got it in there, I can price it. And if I price it, somebody may want to buy it. And then that was the whole point.
Right.
of sending it in. So yeah, I made like $200 worth of sales yesterday on relatively small stuff. Like, but Brandon, you know what? $5 here, $8 there, $12 there. It adds up. It
Sure
adds up
does.
super quick. So I was like, all right. So yeah, the store credit is healthy, and I was able to pick up some cards for myself. So this will be some cards that I'll share for next week. So yeah, regardless. Second piece from the land of eBays. I had talked about on the Friday Live that I had purchased a shipping label during the initial run up, when people were trying to figure out the tariff situation initially, because it created a little bit of havoc where people were like, okay, so can I ship? If so, how do I ship? Like, what do I need to do? Like, we're trying to figure it out on the fly. And one of the attempts that I made where I'd sold a card was that I tried to send it by UPS, because UPS still allows you to create a label and you can have the information and punch it in, and it was supposed to let you do it. eBay took the money and let me do the shipping label, and so did UPS. Now UPS, that particular one, UPS basically held it sitting there, like presumably trying to clear customs for about a week, and then shot it back to me. In other words, they didn't even try. They didn't even try to push it across. They didn't say we need more information. They didn't say, hey, can you fill out this form? Like, literally, it's just like, here you go, return to sender. I was like, so I paid you to what? Hold my card for a week and a half? Thanks for your help. You literally could have just told me, hey guys, either don't take the service, or
Right.
let me know if you need more information, or if you need me to fill out. Like, I have no problem updating information or giving more info if it was required. What's funny is that since then I've been able to ship to the States, because again, there are a little bit more steps. It is doable though. The point is, there are ways you can do it. You just have to fill in the information properly ahead of time. But we were still figuring that out. Is the point. A couple weeks ago, I get on my eBay account a charge. Now, it wasn't a charge for the shipping label, because the shipping label was paid at the time of it. I lost the charge on the shipping label because I paid for a label, and in the end I didn't get any service, and I got the card sent back to me. But I got a charge of $122.
Oh,
The original shipping on it was like $12, but I got a charge of $122. I'm sitting there. So for the only time, I shared the story on the Friday Live. For the only time, I actually got eBay to go, no, you give me a phone call. I want to talk to someone. I want to talk to a person. We're not talking to the machines. No beep boop. I want a person on the phone. I want you to explain to me what this charge is. So I talked to the person. They were very polite, but then they looked at it, and to be clear, this had been months, because when the original thing was done, it was like in August or whatever it was. I forget the exact timeline. I'm getting this charge in December, and I'm like, the fuck? What are we doing here? What's this? And also, where did we come up with this random number? Like, I've got no information. Give me information. Because I will run a chargeback all the way if that's what has to be done. So anyway, so I talked to this person, and they say, yeah, no, there is no justification for that. Now, here's the thing. On the one hand, they agreed, and they were going to get it reversed. The problem is the reverse is a credit on my eBay account. Brandon, I still paid $122 for Lord knows what. The great mystery.
Did they take it out of your eBay funds? Is that what
Well, they
back?
would have if there had been. I have my eBay funds transferred on a regular basis, so I got $122 charge on my credit card.
Then why didn't they refund it back? I don't know. I don't know why they would have credited your account. That,
because this
I
way
mean,
they
again,
still make money.
It's Mr. eBay.
Well,
Because this way they still make money. That's the only way he can spend the money is back on eBay, and they'll get a cut of it again. So that's why.
To
They
understand here, though, this is a charge based
From
off
UPS.
of
From
a
UPS.
UPS.
From UPS.
So realistically, this happens in the States too, but it's usually because you don't have the package, the dimensions and everything incorrectly. Since it was a card, I'm going to assume that wasn't the case. But
you should also assume since they send it back to me.
Well, it doesn't matter because they still attempted to process it. The thing is with like certain packages in larger sizes, normally they go by dimensional weight, and people don't understand that.
Yep.
Since this was a card, I don't.
It was a padded envelope. It was a padded envelope.
Yeah, so I don't quite understand what UPS was trying to, because they'll do that here. Like, in $122, I've seen people pay thousands because they didn't have the proper measurements in when they shipped the package. And they'll be like, well, why is UPS saying that this weighed 200 pounds when it was 20 pounds? And it comes down to the way that the mathematical equation for dimensional weight, and that's where they get their charges from. It's not actually that they're saying the package weighed 200 pounds. It's just their system of measurement for pricing. So this sounds like they are either trying to charge you the import fee or somebody completely fudged up numbers on the dimensional weight side of things. But I don't understand why eBay isn't just putting the money back on your card, because this would have been a UPS charge. So this wasn't actually like eBay charging. It goes through your account, obviously, because that's where the label was purchased. But this was a charge done by UPS. So that's weird why they didn't just put it back on your card.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they're trying to hold the money, basically. And the specifics are lost because since I'm not dealing directly with UPS, I don't know what the charge is for. I have the tracking.
Oh,
And the
they
information.
normally they should show you that at least on here. They'll put there's an update on your shipping or whatever. And I actually lately have been, well, I don't even want to say because I don't want to jinx myself, but
I was going to say, be careful.
yeah, they normally message you if there's any updates to your shipping charges.
Yeah. So that's why I say, like, this is an interesting case because I'm monitoring it. Because the reason I'm mentioning it now is because I got an email this afternoon saying, following up to share some good news about the shipping label charges. We're going to credit it back to your account. So what I'm doing, Eric, is I'm waiting. I want it credited back to my account first. I want to see it there. And then after that, we're going to have another conversation. I'll be like, so why are you holding my money?
Yeah.
I want it. It belongs to me. So that is my random charge story. So
Yeah.
very interesting. Not in the fun way.
Example of why eBay sucks.
Yep. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's why I say, like, listen, alas, Probstein and his Sneep A could not provide us the competition we were looking for. Sadness. Much sadness. So we'll see. So that I wanted to update because I did in fact get that today. So I was like, okay, interesting. But yeah, it's still a mystery because even if it was some kind of additional charge, Brandon, number one, you did it like 2 months after.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I've seen that happen because I think they do them quarterly.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, any shipping updates or adjustments, I think they're done quarterly.
Yeah. So it could be the case. And then the other part is obviously I don't have the information on the why. And if it was some kind of an import fee or whatever, that import fee would be almost 65% of the actual cost of the item. So we'll have to kind of, again, I got to look into it a little bit and see exactly what the deal is with that whole thing. But ongoing, TBD, to be determined. I'll follow up again down the road. But it was interesting. It was interesting getting that email and being like, okay, good. But let's see the chargeback first. Let's see it on the account. And then I'll have another conversation. I'll be like, so can I have my money back? My money back? That belongs to me?
I'm going to tell you, so this doesn't happen extremely frequently, but it does happen. I'm wondering because the tracking number never actually got processed to an end delivery, if somehow that tracking number didn't get a duplication, but it got tied back to your account. And as stupid as that sounds, they recycle tracking numbers so frequently that those errors occur where that number might have been used by somebody else, but it was so recent to the time that you used the tracking number, it hit your account rather than theirs. And that's just a shit part with the system and them recycling tracking numbers. But I'm wondering if it couldn't be something to do with that.
Yeah. Well, I did go and check when the charge initially came through. The tracking number still shows the return in September to me. So I was the end destination. It shows the return all the way to me, and it's still the only thing that's on there for that tracking number. So we'll see. I'll look into it a little bit. We'll find out. It's kind of interesting. We'll see. Now, I think we'll switch over to this one, and then we'll probably talk about one or two small things, and then I guess we'll tolerate Eric's moment in the sun while he tries to brag about a team that has nothing to do with him, because he full well says there is no team in the state of Massachusetts except for the Boston Bruins. He doesn't acknowledge other sports, other teams. They don't exist. But he's going to try to claim one, so we'll see. So real quick, we'll speak of a sport he doesn't care about, the Hockeys. There was Upper Deck in their dealers conference announcing several things. Spicy Eye may have been there. And amongst the things they announced was the launch of the NHL game jersey debut card program. Yes, fancy. Article from Sports Collectors Daily will be included in the description. So we've got some fanciness here. Now I'm actually going to share one of the specific ones with you. So let me share this tab. There you go. So basically the concept is, so there's a compare and contrast here. Obviously the first thing that a lot of folks threw out there and that thought about was the similarities to the MLB debut concept. Now there are a few things that are obviously different about this. One of them is that they're using the full jersey. It's not just one specific thing. There, even though despite what you're seeing on here in this mock-up, there is no special NHL game debut patch, so to speak. But what you're looking here is a tag that they specifically created. So the San Jose Sharks, each team has got kind of its own control over a lot of the ways they decide to approach this, because you're going to see a lot of different types of pieces. And what happens is the San Jose Sharks specifically, in this case, have a first NHL game, 25-26 season. Sam Dickinson is the example here in the mock-up. So not only do we have that information, but we also have the name of the head equipment manager. And then we have a spot for dates and a specific period. So you can add additional information. But there are some other ones in the mock-ups where we see fight straps. So there are some other potential components. Different teams, there's a little bit of latitude in terms of how you want to do this. Although I really do like, we were talking about this before we hit record, I like the application of having this with all the information. Having the first NHL game, having the season, having the player's name, having the equipment manager's name, having all that info on here really narrows it down. And then at the bottom of this right here, on the very same card, is the actual debut date. So we're linking the card, we're linking the piece of memorabilia, we've got the date on it, and then the piece of memorabilia is also connecting to the date. The combination of all these things is actually quite good, I think. So let me get your guys' thoughts on this initially. So first of all, so let me start with you, Eric, and then I'll let Brandon chime in on it as well. So what do you think about this one?
I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great idea. One of the things that I'm I don't know if concerned is the right thing, but I kind of feel bad for the player if they don't get a chance to keep their rookie jersey, their first game jersey. I mean, that would be a big deal to me if I was, ever in that position. And what I'm hoping is that, as you can see in this mock-up, they have them they have them labeled in different one of the three periods of the game. So I'm hoping that the kid, whoever the kid might be in the future, gets to keep his first period jersey to himself, and the second and third period jersey, which would still be first NHL game season debut, that Upper Deck can cut those into all the little pieces that they want. But I really would like to see professional athletes be able to keep that jersey that they first walked onto the ice or the field or whatever for themselves. That's a very special thing that only a very small percentage of people in this world get to do, is to be a professional athlete and put a uniform on. So I would like to think that they were able to keep the first one they ever put over their head, and then Upper Deck and cut up the rest. But
So Brandon,
I think
go ahead.
Great idea, though.
Yeah, before I get to you, Brandon, I wanted you to chime in on this. But before I chime in, I do want to kind of piggyback off of what Eric is saying. In contrast to what he's saying, I actually would like there to be an Upper Deck representative who's literally chasing the player down the ice with a pair of scissors. And then I would like a picture of them chasing them and the player going, "Why do you have scissors?" And he's like, "I need this." And just chasing them down. And then we include that on the card, Eric, for the true, full breadth of authenticity.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
Yes. Listen, Eric, don't lie to me. If we saw an image on the back of one of these cards of Spicy Eye chasing down a hockey player with a pair of scissors, that's gold, Jerry. Gold.
Yeah, I would like to see Spicy Eye on a card chasing somebody with scissors. Okay, I give you that one.
I'm just saying, like, Brandon, we got to think about this on levels. Man. I'm seeing the vision. So, first of all, your initial thoughts. What do you think, Brandon?
That mock-up I really like. I like the design of the card. I've always liked the Upper Deck, like the black with the gold ink on the autos. I've always thought those look really sharp. That particular patch, I think, I like I said before we started recording, if they all could do that, I think that's more significant than the MLB debut patch.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, yeah, you get the little hologram or whatever, but that is like so much more significance with the game. And I actually pulled this game up. I don't know like full details of when that player Dickinson played, but if you notice, it said third period
Mhm.
because it's only what you know the RD wouldn't be first or second. He played 11:59, 17 shifts. So that could have been all third period. The game also went to overtime, so I guess part of that could have been overtime as well. But that was something I was just curious to see. Did he come in the second? Maybe that was his first jersey, and Upperdeck got the third period jersey or something. But I really like the design. I don't know about just a random piece like from the fight strap, if that would be as intriguing or interesting. I like the idea of the debut patches. Now, I don't want to go off topic here. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. When we were discussing it before, you mentioned that these were going to be an extended, right?
So extended is going to be a good chunk of the first one. So basically, the theory behind this program is going to be that extended is going to get a good chunk of these initially. And then there are going to be some other components that are going to be put into some other sets. So some of the really cool patches. Now, again, we don't really know the full extent of the combinations. What, if anything, will be available on e-pack. All these things TBD, to be determined. But extended is going to get a bunch of these. But there's also going to be, so the key point, the key differentiator, in addition to what we just talked about, is that they bought the full jersey. It's not just the patches. So you're actually getting regular jersey pieces, which means you have the option then of putting that in some of the other sets and offering additional chase. So you can have this one here, you can focus on that, or you can have just a jersey pieces from the debut, and the jersey pieces from the debut maybe is available in another product that may also be reasonable. So it allows you to have a chase of multiple things and use the full jersey basically.
So the reason that I asked that question is, again, I like the idea of giving collectors, you know, a chance at a piece that is significant from the player's debut game. I like that.
Mhm.
But I absolutely cannot stand the way that Topps has utilized the MLB debut patches to basically drive up the cost on a product that was historically very collector friendly. They're putting theirs in Topps Chrome Update. Well, we've seen what the prices of those boxes have done because the prices of the debut patches, like a scrub who's probably not even playing any longer already, is selling 3, 5 plus $1,000. You know, the guy that I was looking for his card to come up, I didn't think he was going to be that outrageous. The initial list price was 60 grand. Like, I'm not looking to buy a car. You know, it's a cool idea, but the problem with adding these into collector friendly products is then you start pricing out the people who once enjoyed those products. So I'm all for them giving these offerings, but I do feel that instead of manipulating them into the lower end products to drive those costs up, keep them to what they should be. Keep them in the mid to high tier products. You know, yes, it's going to price out some people of sorts, but you're going to do that anyway by the rising cost of the just the nature of the product going up in value because of the demands being so damn high. So that's my only downside to these is it drives the box prices way up. So
Oh, I think it's fair. The only thing I would kind of counter here, the only thing I would throw in there that might be worthwhile thinking about is that traditionally extended is kind of seen as kind of a weaker product because it has young guns in it, but it's obviously not the main young guns that people are chasing. Doesn't mean there can't be one of these players can't break out and do something good, but it's usually you're getting what's left over. for the most part. Like they're not going to hold back the top guys for, for extended. And then you've got a bunch of other chases that are chases, but the extended hasn't exactly set the world on fire the last couple of years. A lot of people kind of look at extended and almost kind of question why it's there. So it's one of those things where now you're introducing something that gives extended something. It gives it something to allow it to be like, okay, here's a justification for this product that otherwise is like, why are we doing this?
And
Yeah, but even
oh,
I mean, it goes back to what I'm saying though. So, and people could argue how many of them are out there, but there's people that still build sets. Series 1, 2, and extended, your Upper Deck flagship line, there's still people that build those sets. You inject these debut cards, and the set collectors that may have enjoyed sitting down, buying a couple of boxes at a reasonable price, especially for extended, as you said, it's not been a super hot product. They no longer are probably going to want to do that because it's going to drive the value of them boxes so exceedingly high because you're going to have new faces. Let's be honest. These patches and stuff are going to draw the attention of outside people. I mean, they're going to chase them. If it has any reflection onto what we've seen with the baseball stuff, there's going to be people buying the product, buying into breaks, just simply to chase those pieces.
I think it's a fair question. Really, what it comes down to is, I guess, it's going to be a question of which force is going to offset. Because as I said, there's been a little bit of weakness with the product because it doesn't always have the hottest cards that people are necessarily chasing. But at the other side, now you've added something. Now you've added something that gives it a little bit. Eric, before we hit record, already committed to 150 cases, just by himself.
I mean, if you just go peek at look at, and this is a big name, but look at the Paul Skeens. What did that fetch? Over $1 million. The attention that it drew when it went to auction and everything. I'm not saying that the hockey stuff's going to, reach those peaks, but who's the hot name right now? Macklin Celebrini. If there's a debut Celebrini in there, people are going to chase that. And you're going to then, let's say extended is 125, 150 a box. I could see them exceeding 500 to 1,000. You're approaching then cup territory for a product that has historically been weak, and for cards that are essentially Powerball tickets with odds that are so astronomical that the likelihood of even getting one is going to be slim to none. You're going to have breakers selling 10 case breaks of extended, whereas before they would laugh and probably not even want to order the product. So that's the biggest issue with it. I like the idea of the cards. I just wish that they wouldn't put them in these low-end products that people might enjoy. It may not be for everybody, but there's people out there that might enjoy them, and now it's going to just drive the cost. It's going to drive the cost up for shops. I mean, and we know that these manufacturers force shops to buy stuff. It's probably going to drive the price up for them.
Could be. I think, like I said, the one saving grace is that, and I'll just say because I'm looking at the article here again, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. This is considered is going to be part of a 25-26 product, so Celebrini isn't there. Bedard isn't going to be part of this one. It's going to be guys like Matthew Schaefer,
Demidov, or whatever his name is.
I don't think so either.
Chase.
No, it's Matthew Schaefer, Michael Missa, Bennett Senecki, Brady Martin, Isaac Howard, and Easton Cowan, amongst others. So these are the names that are being given to me.
So so they're young guns and stuff. I don't even. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is I agree with you if they were retroactively bringing in some of those guys, but this is like a newer class. So it's a different group. Like Schaefer is apparently have a little bit of buzz to him, but he's a defenseman. And there's some of these other guys. So again, you're still creating a really nice card of these players. This could be the nicest version of a Matthew Schaefer for a rookie year that he's going to have, but it's not Celebrini and it's not Connor Bedard. It's not those guys.
Well, that's why I brought up the Skeens. I mean, with what these debuts have done and just the significance to them, those cards, I personally, to my knowledge, they've exceeded like what the logo mans are doing. So you're then coming into a territory where these might outperform a cup shield, so it's something to look at. And again, hockey is a different market. The collectors in hockey are set in much different ways. They're kind of cemented in what they like for the most part. So it may not affect it as much. It's the outside forces coming in to chase them that I'm curious to see what the reaction of it will be. So
That's fair. Look, we'll be fine as long as they don't just say, "Oh, by the way, guys, we got an update. An update is part of it." Okay, who's in the update? Regine Lemonin. Ah, crap. Really? You sure? Sure you want to do that? Eric is like, no cost is too great. No cost is too great. You're going to see Brandon. The reason it sells out is because of one sick individual who bought everything.
it's probably his debut jersey on the wall back there.
Debut and only.
Yeah.
Debut and farewell jersey.
That's not funny.
It was all part of the same game. All part of the same game.
What
All right.
the hell what the hell are you using to get liquid into your body?
A tumbler mug.
Carlos, have you ever seen anything so absurd?
All the time. It's a tumbler.
That is ridiculous.
Eric, you need to go.
It's
You
nice
need to go.
take to the gym because it doesn't spill.
Eric, you need to go. You need to go to a truck stop. You're going to see about 50 of those.
That is ridiculous.
It's
okay.
Hold on,
literally
Brandon.
just a tumbler.
Brandon. Eric, are we remembering about your size dysmorphia? Brandon actually had the tumbler is only about this big. Like I don't know what you're seeing,
not
but
that
it's just so you
big.
know. Just so you know, like it's actually very tiny. Is that what's throwing you off?
Maybe that's
Yeah,
what it
I'm
is.
just saying. I got questions.
It looked obnoxiously large.
No, it's a normal size tumbler. It's a 40 ounce, I think.
No, that's the size of your forearm. That's ridiculous.
Saying perspectives play tricks
I
on you.
can't
Eric.
see what it says on the bottom.
No, that is going from the crook of your elbow up to your wrist. There's no doubt. That's
Well,
ridiculous.
does it make it any better that it's freaking water in it? It's not like it's soda or
No, I
whatever.
don't care what you have in it.
Water. It's
the-
good for you. You should be drinking it.
I drank enough water today. Not that I'm bragging, but I told you guys earlier, I already did a 30
Did you drink
mile
it
run.
8 ounces at a time?
I went through an entire large
Did you
water
drink it
bottle.
8 ounces at a time?
I don't know how much is in the water bottle. I got that whole thing gone.
Probably not much more than this.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Wow. Just wow. Speaking of redonkulous, all right, Eric. So let's get this. Let's quickly go do a recap. You got your notes there. So do you have the totals? Do you have the totals, or are we going to go game by game?
Yeah, I have the totals, and none of us can brag because
I didn't think so. Yeah, I was
all
sure.
three of us got 3 right.
That sounds about right. All right.
Okay.
So you want to go? So you want to go over them section by section? What do you
Okay.
recap us? Where are we at?
All right. So myself, because I'm going to go. Do the order that we did it last week was me, Brandon, and then Carlos. So I'll start with myself. I got 3 correct. Jacksonville versus Buffalo. I picked Buffalo. No, I'm sorry, I already screwed up. I picked Jacksonville. So Buffalo won. No points for me. Pats versus Chargers. I picked Patriots. I got I got a point there. Texas Pitt is on.
It's in progress. It's in progress as we record. Yes.
The Steelers are up 3-0. I'm still picking Tex. For Rams Panthers, I picked the Rams. So I got a point there.
For the record, when we get back to that game, when we circle back around to that game, Brandon.
It was a good game.
So
Good game.
So close. Go on.
Green Bay versus Bears. I know this is a sour part for you as an owner of the team. I picked the Bears. I got a point there. And then 49ers and Eagles. I picked the Eagles. So I had no points there. So I hit Bears, Rams, and Pats. For Brandon, he picked Jacksonville. So he also no points there. He picked the Chargers. No points there. He is also picking Texas games. going on right now. And then he swept the NFC. He got Rams, he got Bears, he got 49ers. Carlos, you're the only one that picked Buffalo. Point for you. You also picked the Pats. Points for you. You pick Pittsburgh. You're winning by 3 points.
I got this locked down, Brandon. It's in the bag. The 3-point lead.
The 3-point lead in the second quarter, 8:43 left.
Brandon, I've already won. Basically, I'm cashing out right now.
In some of these games, that's true.
Then you picked Panthers, no points.
It would have been so good.
You picked Green Bay, no points. And you picked the 49ers, so you got your 3rd point. So all 3 of us 3 points.
Yeah. Well, the Green Bay was the homer pick. So real quick, I'll talk about the 2 on the NFC side. The Rams and Panthers were so close to being glorious. I was like, it was, if Carolina could just held on. Eric, I was this close to hitting that. That would have been amazing. The football gods wanted it, but it was just. Yeah. The Bears and Packers. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. What is interesting for me, of course, I'm kind of sitting there, kind of looking in the Discord. We got a bunch of Bears fans, but I'm sitting there going like, y'all all realize that you're losers. The Packers literally were starting Eric, and they had an 18-point lead with starting Eric, and they don't have a pass rush, and the secondary is trash.
The Bears did not play well in that first half. I'll tell you that.
I'd argue until the 4th quarter, the Bears didn't play well.
It was.
Well,
that game was boring until the end.
Yeah.
I'll go out on a limb and admit, if I knew that Love and Jacobs were starting, I probably would have took the Packers in that scenario, because my Bears pick was with the uncertainty of who was starting at quarterback and all of that. So if I knew that Love and Jacobs were starting, I probably would have went Green Bay there. So,
but you know what's funny though, and I know you're not about the maths, Eric, but let's quickly, for a moment, let's indulge in the maths, shall we? How much did the Packers lose by?
I don't have the score.
Like 4.
It was 31-27. 31-27. That was the score. That is 4 points. Correct? Okay. Here's a question. How many points do you get for a field goal?
3.
Okay. How many points do you get for 2 field goals?
6.
That's 6.
How many points do you get for 2 field goals and an extra point?
7.
Yeah, that's how much Brandon McManus missed in that game. He missed 2 field goals and an extra point. Just by himself. I'm just talking about one player. He missed 2 field goals and an extra point. That's 7 points. That gets you to 34. Now, all right, listen. Hey, stuff happens, whatever. Okay. Towards the latter portion of the game, I'm not going to relitigate this blow by blow, but all I'm going to say is, again, Green Bay does not have a pass rush. They're all injured. They actually had a 10-second runoff right at the end because they didn't have timeouts. Do you know why they didn't have timeouts? Because they didn't clock manage in the 4th quarter at all. They seemingly had no Matt LaFleur, who will probably be renewed, at least for and I'll briefly talk about that at the end. Matt LaFleur, who is a good coach, not a great coach, a good coach. The problem is his fatal flaw, and a lot of coaches have this, by the way. This is not an unusual thing. A lot of coaches have a fatal flaw. They've got a blind spot. They got something that they struggle with. Maybe it's clock management. Maybe it's figuring out how to make certain adjustments and do certain things in there. The reason why it's not surprising is because the Packers have done this the entire season. They've struggled with getting leads on teams and then letting them come back into it because they don't know how to deliver the killing shot. Jordan Love threw for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's good. Like that seems pretty good. That's decent, I think. They scored 27 points. That's decent with even an adequate defensive effort. I'm not talking about a good defensive effort, Brandon. I'm talking about an adequate. In the 4th quarter, Caleb Williams was throwing to wide open receivers left, right, and center. Like everywhere he went, there was a wide open receiver somewhere. Somebody was open on every single play. And the Packers defender wasn't even close. Like those guys half the time were untouched. So, Eric, when you give up 25 points in a single quarter, you're not going to win a lot of games. Yeah, so the you got to lift it a little bit. So it's the Texans scored a touchdown. There you go. You got to lift it a little higher. Look at that. We got the paper updates. So anyway, Brandon, what I was getting at is that I have 7 points lost to bad special teams play. I have timeouts and bad play calling based on poor clock management. That's on the head coach. Poor clock management is on the head coach. It's their job to understand what's going on. They wasted timeouts when they should have. They got a delay of game penalty. They got a 10-second runoff because a player got injured. Another player got injured. My other center got injured, and that was late in the game. And I'm sitting there like, I don't have my starters in a bunch of my defensive positions. Oh, and drops. I'm not even counting the drops. So the Bears scored 25 points in the fourth quarter, and they won the game. And it's a big comeback. But I'm sitting there going like, the Bears had better not run into anybody who can actually put together a competent offense in the latter portion of the game, or they will get blown out by 40 because they didn't play well. This was a mash unit offensive team that put up 27. And by the way, should have put up 34 on them technically. They gave up a ton of points. And to a team that had no business being even that competitive in it. And they barely scraped by to win.
Well, it looks like next round they have the Rams in Chicago.
Yeah. We'll have to see. The Rams are capable, but they also made a hash of it against Carolina. So like I said, nobody looks good coming out. Nobody looks good coming to the NFC. The Seahawks are there. They're waiting in the wings, but at the same time, it's like, all right. So you got Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy struggled a little bit too. Jalen Hurts didn't look good.
Stafford is familiar with playing in Chicago though, so that'll be a little bit of a benefit for the Rams there.
Yeah. So let's kind of put it this way. Maybe you guys have a different take. I got a chance to watch most of the games. I didn't get a chance to watch all the games. I really feel even more coming out of the wildcard weekend. Nobody actually looks good. Like, there are teams that won, but a lot of them, even the ones that won, is like, we'll take the Patriots. Technically, if you want to get technical, the Patriots had the biggest blowout win in the entire weekend. But that was 3 field goals and a touchdown late to put it away. They didn't look good. Good enough.
Buffalo only gets the job done because of that stupid ass push play.
Yeah, it's like good enough. It gets the job done. It counts. But that 16-3 looks a lot like that last Patriots Super Bowl, the one where Brady played against the Rams. That was a trash game. Both teams were terrible. Nobody actually looked good in that game. It was garbage. So, but hey, look, it counts. You just got to score more points than the other team. It doesn't matter how you do it. Like, as long as you get more points, you win. But I don't know. Coming out of this, maybe you guys have a different take. I don't think anybody looks good coming out of that weekend. Now, somebody's going to win. Somebody has to. But I'm saying, I haven't seen one single performance from any of these teams that says to me, "Oh yeah, you're the one you're in the driver's seat. You got control."
I wasn't sure. And I watched all the games. Got this one on now, barely watching, but I couldn't make up my mind of whether or not the offense for every single team was playing poorly over the weekend, or the defense for every single team was playing out of their minds. Because, like you said, the games were all pretty close. A lot of them were, down to the last, few minutes of the fourth quarter. And it just seems like the offense couldn't get going in these games. And I kept trying to decide whether or not, these, like offense didn't show up this weekend, or if the defense were just completely insane. And I still don't know, because like the Green Bay Bears game, I was so freaking bored for 3 quarters. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter where things started, getting a little more exciting. But I couldn't tell, is this a defensive, tutorial, or do these offenses just suck? and I don't know the intricacies of football enough to be able to break it all down like, like a professional, color commentator, and pick it all apart to answer that question. So as a somewhat knowledgeable fan, I still don't know what I saw. Great defense and poor offense, or I don't know.
I'll tell you. So, just my opinion on it, and this is just things can change week to week. Teams can play different week to week. But I think if I had to take a team, and Carlos, I know that they played your boys, but I think the Bears have to be going into the next round with some confidence, because being down like they were and able to come back and pull out the win, get another game in Chicago at home, young quarterback and everything, seeing that he is capable of winning, that has to instill a little bit of confidence there. Also, being able to review some tape, seeing what a poor Carolina team was able to do against the Rams, you could review that kind of game plan, and I would have to say Chicago with the comeback, that was, and Carlos mentioned it's happened throughout the season for Green Bay, but still, it would have been very easy for that team to get overwhelmed, rush, make mistakes, and, piss the game away. So I think looking at Chicago, they would be the team that I think we should possibly see a little bit more difference out of next week, just because of the carrying the confidence over. Also, this was Buffalo's first road playoff victory since 1992.
I did see that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw somebody posted that. Actually, it's a good stat. Actually, kind of an interesting one. So I understand your premise and your concept. The only thing I would throw back at you though is that the Bears already came back to beat the Packers this season, literally not long ago, like a couple of weeks ago, and the Packers blew that game too. So the Bears already know the Packers are capable of imploding all by themselves. Like they've literally done it.
Caleb Williams has had a lot of criticism and everything. The Bears haven't been a deep playoff team in many, many, many moons. So it has to give not only a young quarterback, but a team. They get another game at home. They're going against a quarterback that I don't know if any of the coaching staff was in Chicago when Stafford was in Detroit, but I would just have to say, yeah, they did it in the regular season, but the playoffs is a different animal. We know that. So I would say taking that into the next round is a positive, at least you would have to think, for Caleb and the Bears offense.
I think it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I think it does. There was somebody who ran. I know what it was. I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast a little earlier this afternoon, and he went over it. It was actually kind of funny, Eric. Now, obviously, I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on it, but I was aware. He actually went through season by season, because obviously there's certain teams that are known as kind of snake bit franchises. You've got, your Cleveland Browns
Buffalo.
and a lot of different, Buffalo, a lot of their teams. I laugh because real quick, I'll talk a little bit, and Brandon, you'll appreciate this, and we can have a little conversation about this. The dynamic of the Discord is kind of fun because you've got basically a handful of Packers fans, but it's basically Paul kind of represents his own category. He's like his own special case. He's his own case. Because I was looking at the football Discord while this was going on, and Eric, you would have enjoyed this. So basically, you've got Paul, who spends a lot of time trash talking, and then basically, as soon as the Packers are struggling, everybody just fires darts at Paul, and it's like. But then I came in later on as it was going up, and one of the guys was talking a little bit too much smack. So now he's an Oakland A's fan. So I literally was like, so he was he came out of nowhere. It was weird because he usually hangs out on the baseball side. So I'm just giving you the background, the backstory here. So he usually hangs out on the baseball side. Now, of course, I pay attention to a lot of details, Brandon. I'm a detail oriented person that way. But when this guy comes out and he starts suddenly posting about Chicago, the Bears, whatever, my response immediately after is like, why don't you go watch an Oakland A's game? Oh, wait, you can't. he bitched and moaned about the Oakland A's moving and everything. So I just like, Eric, let not be said that I do not know how to twist the knife a little. Just a little bit, just a little twisting the knife. See, I'm back. And it was funny because Wes kind of goes, I keep forgetting that Carlos is a Packers fan. And the response, Eric, and the response that came out of it is that, well, because he's not Paul.
Oh,
he doesn't like I'm not overbearing about it. I just kind of do my thing. I chug along. So I kind of like slide under the radar. But then if they get a little too uppity, Brandon, then I kind of like, hold on. Slow your roll.
I would have said something more like, have you gotten your Oakland A's season tickets yet?
Yeah, and that would have been a good one too. But the bottom line is that, Eric, look, I got a couple. I'm willing to, like, I am a man of peace, but do not provoke the man of peace. If I'm provoked, I am also a man of the Schadenfreude. Both things are true. Both things are true. So bottom line is that, yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm also not surprised. And the reason, so bringing this back around. So like I said, Brandon can attest to this, how the situation went down. But it was funny because a lot of the people are talking trash about the Packers. They weren't talking trash to me about the Packers. They were talking trash to Paul about the Packers. But I'm sitting there going like, hey, slow your roll. All of y'all, slow your roll. But anyway, so Bill Simmons goes through it and he didn't realize this. It was actually kind of funny watching him break it down. Because again, there are franchises that are known, we just talked about a second ago, that are known for being snake bit. And the Packers have 4 Super Bowls in history, and then the NFL championships, back in the day and all that, which is fine, whatever. Look, but I did tell the guys, like, you have to choose. If you're saying those don't count, then no problem. But then the Cleveland Browns have never won anything. None of that counts ever. So then fine, because they've never won a Super Bowl. The Minnesota Vikings don't even exist because they've never won a Super Bowl. So I have no problem with that, but we got to be consistent, right? Either football history counts or it doesn't count. I don't care. You all choose. Whatever works for you is fine by me. But the point was, he was looking at it since the last Packers Super Bowl with Favre. So the not so fella. And then he went and looked at it and goes, yeah, the following season they got back to the Super Bowl. They lost to John Elway. That was the one that got him off the schneid because he had never won a Super Bowl. So by that point he had Terrell Davis. They finally put the pieces together and the Packers were able to get back to the Super Bowl, and they played a great Denver team. Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame. John Elway's in the Hall of Fame. That was a great team. So fine, you lose to a great team. That's no shame in that. But then I think it was the total. What it came to is they've lost 5 NFC championships since then. Now you have to think this is like 1997, so this is in the last several decades. Lost 5 NFC championships. They did get back to a Super Bowl with Rodgers, so they won one with the darkness. But then a bunch of NFC championships and didn't win those. They got blown out by San Francisco. They've lost a bunch of playoff games in horrific ways. Now they've won playoff games along the way, but like 2007, I remember that one well. That was late in the not so fellas run. He threw a crippling interception in overtime and lost a playoff game. They lost a playoff game to the Giants, who went on to win the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And then the next time the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl against the Patriots, Brandon, you know who they beat to get to the next round? They beat the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, that season, the Packers had gone 15-1. They lost to Eli Manning and the Giants, who then went on to beat the Patriots again, that time as well. So it's like, so in reality, they've had the 2 Super Bowls, but along the way, they've had a bunch of there was one playoff game with Rodgers where they lost like 45-42 or something stupid to Arizona.
I cannot remember, but was the second Super Bowl that the Giants beat the Patriots, that was the undefeated season, right?
Wasn't that the first?
I think it was the second one that they did.
I thought it was the first one. Now you got me thinking. I remember the sequence. I feel like it was the second. So the second Giants one was in 20. It was literally the year after the Packers won the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 46. Whatever 46
was. One of them was in 2010, I believe it was. 2010 or 2011.
That was the one where that was the one where they beat Rodgers to get to the to advance, and then they got the Super Bowl that year.
Okay, so that wasn't the undefeated season.
That would have been the first. That was like 07 or whatever.
Year. Yeah,
that was the one where they beat Favre.
Because that was in Indianapolis. I actually was at Media Day and all of that. For that, that was the first year that they allowed the public to attend Media Day. So yeah, I couldn't remember if it was the first or the second one because that had me thinking. I was like, damn. So they beat the 15-1 Packers and the 16-0 Patriots. That would have been impressive, but
Yeah, I think that was a different season. Yeah, that was a different one because I think the 15-1 was the best regular season record that year. So anyway, bottom line is
I
that
couldn't remember which it was, so that's why I was
All right,
curious.
move on.
these are important things we need to know. You know, Drake
All
May
right.
needs to understand this
The
history. This
Bears-
is critical.
The Bears won their last Super Bowl by beating the Patriots. The
That's important.
Favre won his Super Bowl by beating the Patriots.
It's important.
The Darkness lost that game to Eli. Eli went on to beat the Patriots.
Mhm.
I understand, the connection to all of the Super Bowl wins. They had to beat the Patriots.
I'm just saying.
So are you saying we should put an early bet for Caleb Williams versus Drake May Patriots in the Super Bowl, and Drake May and the Patriots lose?
So I'm at 1985, 11. Okay.
God, you're old.
Yeah. All right. So in a short period of time, I watched the Patriots lose, the Red Sox lose. It was a bad year. Okay. I would like nothing else than to see a Patriots Bears Super Bowl and the Patriots destroy Chicago. That is my hope. That if I could wish for anything in sports, that is what I would wish.
You know what, Brandon? Given the way this NFL season has gone, I want to state on the record right now, on the record, if the Super Bowl is the Bears and Patriots, number one, I will make Eric be as part of a live, at least for part of that game. I guarantee it, because there will be a watch along. There will be a live watch along. But in addition to that, I want to make very clear, and again, on the record, if that happens, Brandon, the NFL gods have spoken. That game will be 2-0, and it'll be a fucking safety. It'll be a safety. That'll be it. It'll be the most garbage football game that has ever existed.
It won't even be a sack safety.
No.
It'll be a mishandled snap.
Yes.
That goes out of the back of the end zone.
Yes.
On a punt.
Yes. And it'll be in the first quarter, inside of the first 5 minutes. And then the remaining 55 minutes of the game will be nothing. Nothing.
If the Patriots win
the halftime show will even suck.
The halftime show will have a mechanical malfunction. It'll go offline, and there simply won't be anything to air but commercials, and not even good ones. And the Super Bowl commercials will be trash.
It'll be the old ones.
Yeah, the Super Bowl commercials will be trash. All of it. All of it.
As long as the Patriots win, I don't care.
So anyway, what I was gonna get. So it was interesting because look, I don't dwell on it, but at the same look, I can't complain, Brandon, because I'm in this weird middle zone. I can't complain. I've gotten to see my team win 2 Super Bowls. But I got to be honest with you. I've also seen them have some absolute trash performances, horrific ways to lose some stupid games in some of the Seattle NFC Championship one. Brendan, I've told the story, but I'm serious when I say this. And look, you've met me in person. On the whole, I'm pretty chill. Like, honestly, day to day is like, whatever. Brandon, I banged my head against my coffee table watching that thing. I have never been more angry watching a sporting event of any kind than that NFC Championship game. That is my nom. I can't, it angers me. And what angers me more is that Seattle then went to the Super Bowl and didn't win. They fucking lost to Tom Brady. It pisses me off. It angers me because that team should have gone to the Super Bowl. And look, no matter what happens, whatever happens, Brandon. But as far as I'm concerned, that team should have gone to the Super Bowl. And I'm morally offended that they didn't go to the Super Bowl. And it angers me. Because to get that close repeatedly, so maybe this is a philosophical question. I guess, Brandon, this would be a kind of question, and maybe as a Ravens fan, you can kind of answer it for me. Because you've at least... But no, but let me ask this. You need to hear the question I'm asking. Is it better to be a team that doesn't actually get close very often? If you do, maybe you got a chance, but whatever. Or to actually do get close consistently. Because NFC Championship means you're one game from the Super Bowl. And it's happened over and over and over again. Now, when they did get there, their record, like basically since I've been a fan, their record is 2-1. It's not that bad. Like, it's actually pretty good. But the problem is getting on the precipice, getting right to the front door. Like, you got your foot in the door. You're right there. But you never actually cross the threshold. Now, when you do, hey, you got a pretty good shot. 66%, that ain't bad. But the rest of the time, it's like, yeah, you're right there. You got your foot in the door. You can't quite finish the job. And that is frustrating, man. That is frustrating.
Yeah, to answer the question, it's simple. The year they won, 2012, the previous year, they were in the AFC Championship game and lost with a Lee Evans dropped pass that he had in his hands in the end zone. And then, of course, there was also a missed field goal. So that year sucked. The following year, that was a very stressful playoffs, but they did make it and win the Super Bowl. The last several years, we've been good, but not good enough. And I have to say, this year was a lot more relaxing. Watching that Steelers game, although I wish they had beat the Steelers, I was okay with them not making the playoffs because I didn't feel that this team, like to be quite honest, even if they beat the Steelers and made the playoffs, I don't think they had the capability of going deep in the playoffs. And so it was like, why go if you're not going to be competitive and make a run? So, yeah, this year's been much easier. You know, not knowing that we were 1-5. I pretty much counted them out. Like if they had made a run and won the Super Bowl, it would have brought me back to the Nationals World Series run. Like that was unexpected. So, yeah, it's much easier just to know that you're bad than get that close and know that Mark Andrews dropped a pass in the end zone. Like that stings. A play that he would have caught 99 obviously out of 100 times. That one time was when it was the difference in going. That sucks.
You know, Eric, this kind of leads me down to a kind of a separate question. I promise I'll come back to football here in a second, but let me kind of ask this question then. This, and you'll appreciate this, Eric. I shall discuss the hockeys for a moment.
Okay.
Let's discuss the hockeys. So here's my question, given that we just were talking about there. So if you may recall, the Dalles has been in position the last several years. They put together a good team. But here's where it gets kind of interesting. So no, like this is applicable. This is a valid question here. I'm gonna ask it. I don't know if you remember, Eric, but technically, the last three consecutive seasons, Dallas has been in the conference finals. This is an equivalent discussion because one more series win and that's a Stanley Cup final appearance. And I joked about it with folks, but this is valid. So hang on with me with my analogy here. I'm talking about this current era of the Dallas. Now, you know what the funny thing and little sad thing is? That's why I say I will bring this back to the conversation. Technically, in my years of Dallas fandom, going back to the heyday of Modano and just before the Stanley Cup years and all that stuff, this technically is the second golden era of Dallas Stars hockey. Outside of the original golden era when the team was on the ascend, were able to get to conference finals and got to Stanley Cup finals, won a Stanley Cup, lost a Stanley Cup and all that. After that, since about 2018, 2019, this is the second golden era. The way I can say that is, well, they played in a Stanley Cup final and lost, so they got to a Stanley Cup final and played one. And they've been to 3 straight Western Conference finals. That's good. Like by most metrics, since like 2019, that's a pretty good record. Problem is, they've lost 3 different conference finals. And so, Brandon, this team, they're struggling. But at the same time, once you get in the tournament, who knows? You never know. The team is proven at least capable of getting to there. So the problem is how many times you want to do a conference finals? And the team technically is good enough if they can get the pieces together and go on a run again. So do you go on another run or do you kind of like just crash out and be done with it? Do you reset? It's kind of an interesting question because they've got talent. The issue isn't that they don't have talent. They've got it.
Well, they made the coaching change. So
this is what I'm getting at. So like I said, I promised I was going to bring this back around. This is kind of the interesting, I had the chance since the weekend to listen to a bunch of podcasts discussing this. And now the big question in Packer podcast land is what to do about Matt LaFleur, the coach, because he has technically a year left on his contract. He's kind of in a lame duck situation. He wants an extension. So Do you give him an extension, Eric? Because as I said a moment ago, he's not a bad coach, but he clearly has some flaws in his game, some holes in his game that doesn't seem to be able to get past because they lose in certain ways. They've got certain things that once they get in a certain circumstance situation, in his tenure, they've made playoffs being there as a 7th seed consistently. That's the problem. They're good enough to make the playoffs under the new format because the 7th seed hasn't been going on a long time. That's good enough to get there. And by the way, they've won a couple playoff games. So it's not like they've won nothing. But at the same time, then they find ways to lose games that they're perfectly capable of winning. There is something missing. There's something wrong. Clock management, poor decision-making, bad timing. This year, you've got a little bit of an excuse with the injuries, but it's not like this is the first time they've had this issue. And by the way, they were beating the Bears comfortably.
Yeah, every team has injuries, and the best teams are the ones that can have the next guy fill in that spot and step up and take care of business. So the injuries thing is real, but it's real for everybody. But the best teams are the ones that can fill that spot and keep moving forward. And but it's hard. If you lose a star player, those are hard cleats to fill. But the Patriots, for example, during the Brady Belichick era, they were known for next man up. I mean, they had Troy Brown playing offense and defense because they needed bodies on the defensive side of the ball. So they were like, Troy, we need you to play offense and defense. No problem. And he made some incredible defensive plays in the playoffs. Although he's had his whole career as an offensive player, he made some incredible defensive plays in the playoffs that help us win. So it's all about the coaching staff preparing players to be the next man up and making sure they're coaching for all these different situations.
But what if you don't coach for those situations? What if you panic, misplay the clock management game, make poor play calls for the situation? And Brandon, the meme is out there, so I am going to repeat it. It is worth mentioning. Matt LaFleur was on an infamous coaching staff. Do you know who that was, Eric? Did you see the memes? Do you know?
No.
Matt LaFleur, once upon a time, was a quarterback's coach. He was on a staff as a quarterback's coach. And do you know who he was a quarterback's coach for?
No.
The Atlanta Falcons. He was a quarterback coach for the Atlanta Falcons when they were up 28-3 in a Super Bowl.
Oh.
And I'm just saying, I understand head coach, quarterback's coach, not the same thing, but the offense did kind of cough it up late and make some really bad choices and decisions.
It's impressive that Matt Ryan was able to do that twice, though.
It is impressive. But look, Brandon, do you understand? Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? I'm just saying there is a common denominator here. There is a man who seems to be always there when horrifically blown leads happens.
Every conversation that we've had tonight, the Patriots are involved. So it's the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, the Patriots are trash. They're evil. They should be destroyed. It's for everyone's benefit. But like I said, look, two different things, Brandon, but I do think it is interesting and it is worthwhile mentioning. So the fun part about the conversation is that a lot of folks are trying to figure out, here's the thing. I don't know if there's a good quarterback coaching candidate out there, but I've got a little bit of a problem, Eric. My problem is I don't think he's a bad coach. My problem is I do think he has some fatal flaws that consistently show themselves in those situations, and I don't know if he can fix it. I don't know if having healthy personnel is going to fix it. He had good quarterback play in that game. They did enough. Look, Eric, if you score 27 points, and technically it could have been 34 if your special teams had not been trash. Eric, is 34 points theoretically not enough to win a playoff game?
You should be able to win a playoff game with 34 points.
You would think.
The Rams almost lost to the Panthers though with that many. So
I understand, but again, we are also taking into account that they almost put up 34 points, given they had injuries on offense on the line, which is important. The offensive line is kind of important. It's part of that whole situation. The running game never materialized. They never got that going. And then on defense, they have no pass rush and their safeties are trash. and they were still in a position to win that game. So
I've not understood, like, I've seen several teams that I've not understood why you're looking at it and it's late in the game. Like, sometimes they'll be down with the ball under a minute, 3 timeouts, and I'm like, why in the hell haven't y'all used your timeouts? Like, what happened to the days where clock management started? Like, you started preparing before the 2-minute warning. Like, sometimes they would burn one to get, basically turn it into 2 timeouts instead of 1. It's like these defenses, the coaches don't have confidence in their defense to make stops, so they're waiting till late with on the offensive side of the ball to use these timeouts instead of keeping the clock there, thinking that your defense can make a stop, your offense get the ball back, and then have time to go down the field. So I don't know. It was several games that I've seen it like that, and I'm just like, why in the hell do they still have all their timeouts?
So that's kind of the question that I was asking. So look, I'm trying to make this into a multi-tiered conversation. I'm not just here to complain about the Packers situation, but I'm giving the example to be like, this is a situation where you have a coach who's not bad. There's legitimately bad coaching out, like really bad coaching out there. But then there's also coaching that is like, there's something missing in your game. It's like a player who, oh, you're really good at this, but if I ask you to do this other thing, oh no, don't do that. So you got to play to people's strengths. The problem is, it seems like this coaching group lacks. Like the special teams was bad all year. Special teams has cost them points in tons of games, and actually cost them games. Literally cost. Brandon McManus will not be back. He literally lost 7 points off his foot in a playoff game. 7 points. Eric, we kind of need those points.
A little bit.
We need those points. So, and again, I'm not claiming they're easy kicks, but the PAT kick. Come on. Like, come on. There's a big difference in all these pieces add up. All these little things add up. And that's, like I said, look, when we're talking about, we give Eric a lot of flack for his Patriots. Although I don't think they're his Patriots. He kind of doesn't actually care about football. He claims to, but he doesn't care. But for the sake of this conversation, let's pretend he does. What the Patriots did back in the day was they always allowed the other team to beat themselves. They basically played their game, executed their pieces, and then let the other team fuck up. And if they did, there you go. There's your win. And it happened over and over again. It was like what happened with Tiger Woods back when he was in his prime. It wasn't Tiger Woods was really good. But you know what made him really, really good, Brandon? He wouldn't make the critical mistake. He would hang in there. If suddenly his shot went offline, instead of worrying about trying to make a miracle birdie, he'd accept the par or he'd take the bogey. But then the other guy would try to make a miracle shot and end up double or triple bogeying, and suddenly his competition would crumble around him. He would keep applying pressure by not making dumb mistakes. Are you getting my analogy here, Eric? By avoiding making the dumb mistake in the critical moment, you allow the other team to make the dumb critical mistake in the moment, and that was your edge. It wasn't that you were that much better. In a lot of cases, they weren't better, but they just didn't make the dumb mistake.
And, we continually see this in sports all the time of teams shooting themselves in the foot, whether it's drop passes, it's, penalties. I do get things mixed up a little, but, there was one, it might have been Green Bay, that, with seconds left, they're trying to get down the field, and one of the linemen, moved, and they got a, 5-yard, 10-yard penalty, moved the ball back, and that changed the whole momentum. So I mean, it's like one of the last plays of the game. We're trying to go in that direction, and because you made a mental mistake, we're now heading in that direction. And that's what loses games. It isn't so much. It isn't always about we need to score more points than the other team. It's we need to make fewer mistakes than the other team, and that will win you a game.
Yep. And that was kind of the takeaway. My frustration this year is going to be that the injuries were bad, but the mistakes were worse. The mistakes are the part that irritates me going out of the season. But then I'm going over to looking at the coach's situation and go, but a lot of those mistakes came from you. You made some bad decisions. They weren't all bad decisions, but you made enough bad decisions, and it adds up. So the problem is, I don't necessarily have a better option. So Eric, do you leave him as a lame duck, or do you extend him where I'm not sure? I don't have evidence to suggest that he's ever going to be able to fix those blind spots he's got and get over the hump. Because if you don't fix them, then you're never going to go anywhere anyway. It doesn't matter what the talent is doing. You're going to make a mistake in the critical moment. You've literally been making mistakes in the critical moment.
Well, everybody on ESPN this morning thinks that they should re-sign him. So that's all. Like, I don't know enough about the history of the Green Bay coach and when he makes good decisions versus bad ones, but everyone in ESPN seems to think they need to re-sign him because they agree with you that he's a good coach, and it'd be it'd be quite a loss. But then again, Baltimore just got rid of one of the best coaches in the league after like 18 years. When they lost in the last couple of seconds of a game that they probably should have won. It isn't like they had a losing season and didn't have a shot at doing anything. I mean, it came down to a missed kick or some last minute stuff. So I don't. Why in the world would you get rid of one of the best coaches in the league?
Because it's happened a lot. The problem is that thing,
Get a
it's always
job
something.
in a heartbeat.
Oh no, he'll get another job. That isn't the question. The question is, does the coach fit that personnel? Because there's times where there's a mismatch. You've got a coach and you've got personnel. The talent is there, but maybe they're just not taking the right approach. They're not preparing in the right way. And the talent is there, and somebody else takes a stab at it and go, all right, we're going to try it this way. I'm going to take the same people. I'm going to try this slightly different thing. And then suddenly the pieces fall into place.
And in today's sports, I wonder how, and what the hell do I know, right? But thankfully, we're not a big enough. We don't have a big enough viewing audience for this to go viral. But modern day athletes have way too much power, and you got to wonder to get rid of that coach from that franchise like that. Did Lamar go to ownership and be like, I can't do this anymore with this guy?
I don't think so.
It's also been 18 seasons.
Yeah,
even if Lamar did do that, he's had years to be like prove that he can't do anything with that team.
I don't like the current atmosphere of that the
I think
players
what it boils down to is
have more power than the coach.
I think you have to look at it as a whole, though. Lamar's been there since 2018. A lot of Harbaugh's success came with Ozzie Newsome as general manager. Ozzie was great at you just talked about personnel. He was great about putting players that fit what the plan was. When they drafted Lamar took over for Flacco and all of that. They started drafting around Lamar's talent. Like, Ozzie's no longer there, so they started building a team for Lamar. The thing is you've had, since 2018, you've had a 2-time MVP. You have Derrick Henry. Like, you've had all of the pieces there. This year, it was an anomaly. There was injuries, what have you. But they've not been able to get where that team should be capable to get to. I love Harbaugh. I don't think it's his fault. But I'm also okay with, we just talked about the Dallas Stars. 3 straight Western Conference Finals. They kicked Pete DeBoer out. Why? Well, he obviously wasn't getting past the hump. So I'm okay with a fresh start. Does that mean it's going to be successful? No. Does that mean that the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl? No. But sometimes you have to just kind of hit that reset button. You've kind of reached your peak. And Harbaugh also he's more of a defensive-minded coach, and he's not had a real strong defense in Baltimore for a bit. So maybe it would best suit him to find a place that fits his style a little bit better. Try to get somebody in that can, if Lamar stays, I mean, hell, he might go somewhere else too. But try to formulate something there to where it all, works together. But I I have respect for Harbaugh. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's a bad coach, but I don't think Lamar would have went to owners and say, "Hey, we need to get rid of this guy." He knows what Harbaugh has meant to that franchise.
Well, I hope you enjoy Bill Belichick, because I think that's who's going to end up there. 8 Super Bowl rings between New England and New York, and he's worked with the MVP quarterback, and I personally think Bill's gone crazy, and I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. But I think he's going to end up in Baltimore.
Who knows?
Scandalous. We'll have to see. Who knows? Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is that it's a question about where these teams and these players wind up. I think, though, the ultimate thing, kind of going back to what we were talking about, is that obviously I'm using the one example, but even if we do the Harbaugh example, the problem that I have with it is that once you've had 18 seasons, if you're not progressing in the right direction, how long do you want to blame players, the personnel, which component of it is the thing? Like, one of the most famous examples was Tom Landry. He had been coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I think it was 28 seasons when he was fired. Now, his last season, he was 3-13. They were garbage. The 2 previous seasons, they were under 500. But he had been in the playoffs the year before that. So the question was, had he lost speed off his fastball? Was it the coaching? Was it the personnel? Was it a combination of all the above? New owner comes in, puts in Jimmy Johnson. Within a couple of seasons, they're starting to win Super Bowls. But they also reloaded the coffers. They reloaded. So would it have worked with old man Tom Landry coaching a much more talented team? Maybe. Or maybe he had his time and the current crop of players weren't responding to what he was doing. Because after a while, you can say whatever you want. The player's not listening to you. You don't have that equity. Because how far removed are you from because the Super Bowl was what, 2012, Brandon? 2012-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 2026. Eric, I don't give a fuck that you won a Super Bowl in 2012. You were less than 5 years in. Now you're in year 18. You haven't won since then. So what are we talking about? You're a Super Bowl winning coach back then, a decade ago. What does that have to do with 2026 and beyond? That's the question the team. That's when you've been there a long time. They're going to ask the question.
It's got to be about, what have you done for me lately?
Well, in this case, what have you done for me the last decade?
Well, when we've had the discussion about, the most honorable doctor of Dr. Beckett, I made those comments, and what have you done for me lately? And everybody kind of got you blasphemous person. You said these things about the good doctor.
Well, Eric, hold on.
I called out Dr. Beckett.
Eric, to be fair,
you
are blasphemous.
Yes.
That's just a fact.
I called out the doctor before the P. Ryan stuff and then the whole world turned on him. I did it first. I called out, what have you done for me lately? Well before everyone else went, this guy's not with us. He's not with us, everybody. So it's all about, what have you done for me lately?
Scandalous. Truly scandalous. So we'll say
we need to make our picks before we call it a night.
Well, the thing is, we're still in the look. We're still in a 1-point game in the Texans Pittsburgh.
But we can do that offline and whatever. But we need to make the picks for the games that we do know.
All right. So wait. So let me see here. I have to look at the bracket now again just to see.
I'll call it out. Here. All right.
Have you got the seating correct though? Just to be clear.
I got it all right in front of me.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Carlos, we'll start with you. Denver versus Buffalo.
Ooh. Do I believe? One more game. We'll go with Buffalo. Let's see some Buffalonians go through tables.
All right. We can't do the New England versus either one of these teams quite yet. Seattle versus Rams.
You mean Bears versus Rams?
No, Chicago versus San Francisco.
Chicago is a Chicago was a 2 seed, right? Just double checking here.
What I have on ESPN is Rams versus Bears.
I looked up the seed. I looked up the.
No, you know what? He's right. San Francisco is a 6 seed. They'd have to play Seattle.
I looked
Yeah,
up.
it's 49ers Seahawks.
Yeah, it's based on the lowest seed versus highest seed. Seattle is number 1 seed. San Francisco was the lowest winner at 6 seed. It has to be that.
Remember that bracket we had last week was dumb.
All right,
No, it was correct because
Yeah,
because in the first round you can't. It doesn't work yet.
It was a mind fuck the way
NFL.com.
it looked.
No, I'm looking at NFL.com, Eric. What I'm saying is that right now the 49ers are the lowest seed remaining, and so they have to play Seattle. Don't have a choice. It's not who they want to play. It's who they have to play. It's based on the seeding. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up the
Does
schedule.
this bracket mean?
I'm looking at the bracket. I know what you're talking about, but what I'm saying is that you have to play the lowest seed. The Seattle has to play the lowest seed, which is San Francisco.
Okay, I'm on the damn thing. I'm looking at. I don't know what to do then. That's what it says. It says Chicago versus San Francisco.
All right, hold on here. Let me see. Let me go to the Google. I shall go to the Google, the Oracle of Knowledge.
It's 6-1 versus 5-2.
Yeah. So right now the Google says Rams Bears. Which is correct. Makes sense.
I know how brackets work. You can't see it, but I know how freaking brackets work. What does that say?
It says TBD.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. That's the bracket.
There's
from last
look
week
to
that
the right
didn't
of it,
work.
Eric. There's a line, and then before that, there's no line. They're not connected. The wild card weekend is its own thing.
We discussed that last week.
Yeah, you have to go highest seed to lowest seed.
I ain't got this. I don't give a shit no more.
All right, I will get the correct combinations, Brandon. Hold on, I'll get the correct ones. Let me do it.
Ain't
All
got
right,
no
here,
time for that.
all right, here we go. So let's do the NFC because the NFC is decided. All right, Brandon, you first. Seattle taking on San Francisco.
I'm going Seattle. Actually, I'm going to make this easy. I'm going all home teams.
All right, so he's going Seattle, and then we got the you got. So in that case, you're saying the Bears over the Rams.
Bears. I'm going to roll with them. I
All right.
said that they're going to take the momentum in.
All right. So yeah,
And
so
then
same
Seattle.
to you,
Or
Eric.
Denver, sorry.
Yeah, same to you. On the NFC, we know for a fact it's going to be Seattle, San Francisco. So the Purdy Party versus Sam Darnold. Who do you believe in?
I'm going with Seattle. The 49ers are so banged up. They just lost Kittle with a torn Achilles, I think, right? Was it?
Yeah,
an
something like that.
tore his Achilles, right? So
He had a rough season. He's had a rough couple of years.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Seattle. So Brandon, who'd you pick?
Seattle.
I took Seattle and Chicago.
No, I'm gonna go with the Rams over Chicago. Carlos, how about you? Who are you picking?
God, I don't want to pay for Sam Darnold. He scares me. I'm sitting there like, oh, I don't like it. Seattle. God, I think the Bears are trash. Now, I watched them play. They're trash. Luckily, the Green Bay defense was more trash, but they're still trash. Rams, but with great reluctance. It's a protest vote.
Now I'm picking the Rams, but I want Chicago because I want Patriots Chicago in the Super Bowl. But I'm picking what I think is going to happen, not what I want. So
Yeah, I don't feel good about any of it.
all right, what about Denver, Buffalo? Carlos, you're saying Buffalo.
Yeah,
Brandon?
Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo has to be out of that side of the bracket. Buffalo's a 6 seed. the 7th seed lost. So Buffalo has to be. So it is Denver and Buffalo. That part's true.
So Brandon, who do you want? Denver?
Denver.
I'm
Yeah.
going with Denver also,
Yeah.
and I'm going for New England.
Yeah.
New England's
I'm going for whoever plays New England. That's going to be my only road team.
So, I don't. Anybody want to make a New England or other team already pick?
I don't
take
feel
another team.
I feel your ego needs to be built up a little more. I'll go with New England.
Okay, Carlos got a New England.
I'll take New England versus the field.
I'm going other team. I don't care which one of them it is, and I hate the Steelers, and I still will take the Steelers over New England.
All right.
Dang.
So 2 New Englands and an empty circle.
That just put a W right there.
Okay.
I love it. Good stuff. There you go. All right. I like the confidence. That makes it fun. All right. So that's it. For now. Obviously, the game right now, as we're recording right now, as we speak, it is 14-22 is what I've got on mine. 7-6, the Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Darkness. So we'll see. It's a 1-point game, so not a good game per se. It's a game. It is a game that is happening as we speak. So anyway, so that's it. Anything else you want to touch on then before we call it an episode? Or are we good?
I'm good.
I'm empty.
All right. So with that said, thank you all for participating again. Thank you for indulging us in the footballs. Look, this time of year, this is basically what we got. This is the games that we're watching. This is the game we're paying attention to. So it is what it is. I'm going to see if this weekend I want to do any watch-alongs. I'm going to think about it. Let's see what the matchups are looking like. Let's see what the scheduling is looking like. And then I'll think about it. And maybe I'll do some. I like doing it, to be honest. It's fun. But it's all going to be about matchups and timing. So we'll figure it out. Otherwise, links in the description. You can check out the first episode of Cardboard Cynics. We had a lot of fun. The engagement so far has been good. There's been a lot of comments and stuff. So it's been good on that. Would love to get some comments if you have some thoughts or anything. Also, if you wish and you do check it out, you can leave any questions you might have here or there. I'll accept it in either place because I would love to have a couple of questions for either episode. And then it'll probably be at least a couple of weeks before episode 2, but we'll see how the timing works out. I'll figure it out with Dan and we'll go from there. Otherwise, videos coming up on the channel, usual things as we're going forward. Friday live streams, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, longest running episodic, whatever it is. We don't know. Eric needs the time to sort cards. Now, he'll never actually finish. He'll just sort cards and then keep sorting cards and then keep sorting the cards. He just sorted. Forever. Literally forever. So that's it. Brandon, Bobbles and Ball cards. No associated 540 flips unless he killed him. Which he might have.
Did.
He might have killed him.
Good.
We don't know. We haven't seen Brandon 540 flips in the same place at the same time. We don't know.
Been a long time.
Just saying. Eric Sanderson to Orr. You can find him on Instagram as Sanderson to Orr. And if you play your cards right, Sports World, biggest card shop in New England, Eric might be there playing with his Willie.
I am.
That wasn't a misnomer. I was just stating facts.
I am scheduled to do another autograph signing with Willie O'Ree this Thursday.
Not nearly as funny as what I said.
No.
Brandon, I feel like I alluded to that. I suggested it. What were you thinking? I don't know what you were thinking.
It's going to be nice to see him. He's 90 years old. I just saw him in November up in Toronto, spent some time with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him on Thursday and checking in. So
get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Get your minds out of the gutter. Feel free to make your picks. We're probably all wrong. Every one of us is wrong. We're all wrong. No matter what we pick, we're probably wrong. It is what it is. This time of year, it's happening. Look, this year is going to be the most bizarre NFL. This already feels like it's going to be the most bizarre NFL season in a long time. Long time. So we'll see. I don't know. Anybody who's left in the tournament at least has a shot. That's it for us. 162 in the books. We'll catch you in the next one.